Students, I'm taking a new answer today. In the last session, we have already completed difference between performance appraisal and performance management, right? So we have seen that there are so many limitations on performance appraisal. And on the other hand, if we understand performance management, it looks like, it is well equipped. One of the best mechanisms, okay, wherein there is a collective and collaborative approach, all right, where the employers and the employee or managers and subordinates, they collectively work towards achieving the organization's goal. So, major highlight or major differences were the kind of approach, the frequency, rating system, and linkages of performance, documentation, and ownership, right? So, after this answer, let us move ahead to the next answer, which is performance management process. It is the answer is divided into three phases: phase one, phase two, and phase three. I'm just sharing the screen. Let me know if it is visible. I hope the screen is visible, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Ma'am.
Okay, I think then we will start. So this answer has three phases. Okay, and divided into planning, monitoring, and review. Let us understand the process of performance management. After this answer, students, chapter 1 will get over. Okay. Chapter 1 is, or module 1 has three chapters. Okay. And from those three chapters, chapter 1 will get over. Okay. Which was a little lengthy one. We have seen so many answers, meaning of performance management, objectives, features, importance, difference between performance management and appraisal, how raters biases or reasons for raters biases. We've also seen evolution of performance management. So it looks like the chapter is very lengthy. So this is the last answer in this chapter, after which the chapter will get over. Let us very quickly start with the answer, that is performance management process. Who is going to read that? Anyone?
Performance management process. The performance management process can be divided into three phases of operation. They are as follows: phase 1, planning; phase 2, monitoring; phase 3, performance review.
Yeah, I think since from the definition itself, okay, 1 minute, guys. Yeah, from the definition itself, it's quite understood that performance management is a two-way process where the involvement of manager and subordinate is must. Okay. For those who have not attended my previous session, I can see one or two students who are not there in the previous lectures. Performance management is a process where the manager and subordinate, they collectively work. Okay, they make the road map, they prepare the plan, they work on that plan, they collectively review how they are going. Okay, the manager on the other hand is not just giving direction. He is also acting as a facilitator. He is giving ratings, and finally there is a review. Okay, so this is a collective process of where manager and subordinate both are involved. Okay, so it's the entire process is divided into three phases. It starts with planning, of course. Okay, at the first, the manager and subordinate, they collectively decide what targets the company should achieve. Okay, what targets should be set with the available resources that the company has. Okay, they collectively decide that in what context the work should be divided, in what duration the work should get completed. Okay, so in the planning process they do all this. Let us see how the textbook is explaining this. Let us begin with phase 1, that is planning. All right.
Phase 1, planning. The planning phase is a joint effort consisting of both managers and employees, during which they 1. Make a review of employee's current job and decide if it needs any updating or changes with respect to job expectations.
I think when this process starts, the very first thing is to understand if there are any loopholes in the present working system. Okay, आप प्लान कोई भी स्टूडेंट जब हम कोई भी प्लान करते हैं कि किसी भी चीज से रिलेटेड एक बार हम पहले का देखते हैं ना कि हाउ इट वाज कंडक्टेड अर्लियर. लेट अस टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ इफ वी हैव टू कंडक्ट सम इवेंट. तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं, पहले वो इवेंट कैसे हुआ था, उसका बजट क्या था, उसमें कितने लोग इन्वॉल्व थे. ओके, वन सेकंड, देयर आर टू स्टूडेंट्स इन द वेटिंग रूम. या, so we refer to the previous conduct and then accordingly we make plans, right? See, even government, if they have to make a budget, वो क्या करते हैं, पहले पिछले साल का बजट देखते हैं, पिछले 5 years के पहले उन्होंने कैसे सेट किया था, क्या पैरामीटर्स था, क्या क्राइटेरियंस थे. ओके, उस टाइम पे इकोनॉमी कैसे चल रही थी, अभी की इकोनॉमिक कंडीशंस क्या है. ओके, तब क्या रिसोर्सेस थे, अभी क्या एडवांसमेंट है, उसके बाद में वो प्लान करते हैं ना. सो प्लानिंग एक्चुअली इट स्टार्ट्स विद रिव्यू, okay, of what has been done earlier. All right, so phase one, which is planning, in this both the manager and subordinate, they collectively, they decide if there is any need in bringing changes in the working system, okay, so that the job expectations are met. So what they do is they analyze the current job. Okay, they see if it is matching to the job description. They analyze if the present style of working is giving the desired results or not. है ना. The first thing क्या करते हैं वो लोग, they make a review of the present working system. Okay, and if there is anything required to make the changes, that can be done. Okay, Smriti, second thing.
Second, align the employee's job description, his or her work plan, and the organization's goals, objectives, and strategic plan.
It's extremely important that when you are deciding individual goals, you need to align the same with the organization's goal. Okay, see, you are not there in the company to achieve your individual targets. You're there to achieve the organization's overall targets, overall objectives, right? I think in one of the answers we've studied articulation of mission, vision, and goals, right? So you're also in the planning process, try to align the individual performance or the individual work along with the strategic plans of the organization. You need to understand that it should be in line. Okay, it cannot be parallel. आप individual targets just set कर रहे हो, if it is not meeting the expectations of overall strategic plans of the company, it is meaningless. So managers को और subordinates को ध्यान देना है that this individual targets or goals are in aligned with the organization's objectives. क्या study कर रहे हैं हम, students performance management? Come on, we're studying performance management process, right? At least a yes or a no, so that I proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
A performance management process, it is divided into 3 phases. It begins with planning. Okay, and when we say planning, it does not mean you just start with your analysis and statistics and allocation of resources. Planning always starts with a review. Okay, what is being done in the past. Okay, so planning stage में subordinate or manager क्या कर रहे हैं? First thing is they are analyzing if the current system of working, okay, is giving desired results or not. If any changes are required, that can be done. Second thing is you are going to align the employee's job description or the individual targets with the organization's strategic plan. Okay, moving on to the third one.
Third, develop a work plan that outlines the tasks expected to be done, expected results, and measures or standards of performance evaluation.
Yes, I think once you have aligned the individual targets with the company's plan, now you have a clear picture of what is expected from the employee. Okay, what task is to be completed, what is expected of the employee, and what is the way of evaluating the employee's performance. I am very upset. Students are joining now. In between, I have to go back to the Zoom. Okay, it really disturbs a lot. Huh? Please come on time. And I break the link. All right. Okay. So third point is saying once you're done with aligning. Sheetal is joining now. Harshad is joining now. Okay, so after you align the individual performance to the organization goals, now you have a clear picture कि क्या task करना है, employees से क्या expected है, and most importantly किस तरीके से आप evaluate करने वाले हो performance. Okay, set the standards of evaluation. For instance, if I am assessing your performance, okay, as a teacher, it is very important for me to communicate to you on what basis I'm going to give markings. Okay. On what basis I'm going to evaluate your performance? Am I going to pay more attention to what you have written in the answer sheet? Or am I going to pay more attention to how you answered during the sessions? Okay. Or how well you have understood the concept? Am I going to pay more attention to the English vocabulary that you're writing in the paper? Or I'm going to pay more attention into how concept clarity is there in the answer sheet. Okay. Once I communicate to you, okay, it becomes easy for you to understand कि अच्छा मैम ये चीज पे ज्यादा ध्यान देने वाला है and ये चीज पे ध्यान इतना नहीं दिया जाएगा. Okay, so you can accordingly start your preparation. All this comes under planning. I'll just have a very quick review of phase 1. At planning stage, the subordinate and the manager, they analyze the present working system. Second is they align the individual goals to the company goals. And then third is, you get a broad picture about what task is to be completed, what is expected of the employees and how you are going to evaluate the performance. All right, then step 4, point number 4.
Fourth, identification of some key performance areas which are important for the employee's job position and plan how to link them to his performance expectations.
I think it is very important to identify which key performance areas are going to be linked with the performance expectations. Okay, you might be doing several tasks at job place. Okay, what is more important should be communicated well in advance. They should be identified. See, communication is the next point, but it should be identified. Okay, that this is something which is very important in your work performance. Eventually, this is going to be, given more priority. For example, in teaching or in education sector, though we also need to focus on the overall development of the child and personality development and co-curriculum activities, conduct webinars, do this, that. Eventually, what is more important is to complete the syllabus and to make sure that the student has understood the concept and is able to write in the exams, to conduct the exams, to generate the results. Eventually, this is something very, very, very important. Okay? This should be prioritized. Because it is education sector. The most important thing here is this, and anything comes afterwards, right? So that becomes my next point in the planning process, that I need to identify which are the key performance areas, okay, which are going to be evaluated and which is going to be linked with the performance expectations. Okay, point number 5. 1 minute, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Identifying training objectives that will help the employee grow his or her skills, knowledge, and competencies related to their work. Signature of the employees as well as the manager need to be taken on the proposed work assessment plan. A copy of the plan should be given to the employee and others should be kept in his or her confidential personal folder.
Okay, once you identify, what is expected from your employees in terms of the work performance, you can start concentrating on how to develop the required skills. Maybe आपने जो identify किया है, okay, कि ये काम ऐसे करना है, तो उसको वैसे करने के लिए necessary training and development की जरूरत है. Okay, you organize the same, okay, and then eventually you put up your signature as a consent from your side and from your employee's side that this is the proposed work plan, okay? और ये planning के हिसाब से हमें काम करना है. This is how we are also going to do the assessment. The assessment यानी checking, okay? So copy of the plan should be given. One copy should be given to the employee, okay, as in part of acknowledgement, and the one can be kept in his personal folder for future references, okay. So these 5 things can be done in the planning process. I hope there is no difficulty in phase 1, which is planning. I think the managers can, okay, the managers can spend maximum time over here, because if your planning requires at this stage a lot of articulation of your views, your opinions, and your subordinates' opinions needs to be consolidated. So you can spend a lot of time in phase 1, that is planning. Okay, जहाँ पे आप करते क्या हो, what are you doing in planning? You are first going to make a review of what is, just 1 minute, I'll highlight it. Very first thing is you have to make a review. Planning always starts with a review. Understand what is your current working system, and if that current working system is well equipped or not. Then second is you make sure that you are aligning the individual task with the overall strategic plan of the company. Then third thing is you need to outline, okay, what task is expected to be done, what kind of performance is expected from the employee, and what standards are used for evaluation. Next thing is you have to identify the key performance areas. Okay, that means कौन सा वर्क को आप यहाँ पे ये स्टेज पे ना, I think employees can start prioritizing. अच्छा, these are my key performance areas. Okay, first I need to do this. Second, this can be secondary. This can be ignored. So here I think employees will get a better clarity on prioritizing their work. Fifth is you need to identify the training objectives, because maybe the proposed plan requires certain set of skills which maybe your employees are not having, and you have to accordingly organize some training and development. Okay, prepare a plan chart, or you can also call it as a work assessment plan. Okay, a copy of which can be given to the employee, and one can be maintained in his personal folder. I hope there is no difficulty in the planning phase.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
All right. Here it is mentioned that the objectives that are set should be realistic. It should be specific, measurable. It should be basically smart. And let us see how. Okay, Shruti, you can read from here.
A, objectives and indicators need to be smart. B, specific, specify what, when, and by whom the work needs to be done. C, measurable, measurable with respect to quantity, quality, time, frame, and cost. D, attainable, practically achievable objectives should be decided upon. E, realistic, the objective should match the level of complexity with the employee's experience and capability. F, time bound, be clear about the time frame in which performance objectives are to be achieved.
Okay, since in the planning process, okay, we are identifying the key performance areas. Okay, managers need to understand that it should be very smart. Okay, smart means it starts with specific. You need to be very specific. क्या task करना है? Okay, कौन करेगा? कौन involve हो सकता है? Okay, who all are going to work on that particular project? Okay, which department can contribute over this? Okay, IT department का क्या contribution होगा इसके अंदर? So here in specify everything. Okay, the task that is planned, who is going to do, and what, and etc. All the what, how, all the questions should be covered here. It should be as specific. Okay, employees should not find any difficulty when they are working at their work desk. उनको problems नहीं होना चाहिए कि अरे ये मैं यहाँ पे अटक गई, मेरे को किसकी help लेनी है. ऐसा नहीं, यहाँ पे specific में आपने already mention कर दिया है. Okay, कि क्या टास्क है, कौन कौन इन्वॉल्व हो सकता है, कि किसको एग्जैक्टली क्या काम करना है. देन सेकंड इज मेजरेबल. आई थिंक वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, जब आप परफॉर्मेंस की परफॉर्मेंस एरियाज आइडेंटिफाई करते हो तो इट शुड बी मेजरेबल. मेजरेबल यानी आप उसको तोल सकते हो इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्वांटिटी, क्वालिटी, कितना टाइम लगेगा, कितना कॉस्ट लगेगा, एवरीथिंग. सो आफ्टर measurable, here it is attainable. I think managers should always try to keep more practical objectives which are easily achieved by the employees. Realistic do not go very parallel to what your company's objective is all about. Okay, make sure that it matches with your employees experience and capabilities. And lastly, time bound. Okay, कि ये target या ये task कितने time में complete हो जाना चाहिए. Be very clear about it. Tomorrow there should be no discrepancies, okay, of this thing, that employees should not be in this thing, in darkness की उन्हें मालूम ही नहीं था कि ये प्रोजेक्ट कब तक कंप्लीट करना है. So keep a time bound and inform to your employees accordingly so that they work on it. I hope phase 1 is very simple to understand and there is no difficulty here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. Since your yes is coming too late, I just have a quick recap of what I have done so far. Students, I am going a little fast. You know why? Because एक recording में at least wisely one major part should get completed ना, so that कोई अगर refer कर रहा है तो उसको उतना portion या उतना answer at least आ जाए. So and also your syllabus is a little vast. Okay? In case मेरे fast जाने पर आपको नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, you stop me. Okay. So we started with performance management process. What is performance management? Guiding your employees, giving the necessary directions, okay, so that he is achieving the company's objective. But while you are guiding, you are not just giving a direction and just guiding. आप खुद भी involved हो. Okay? You are collectively involved in the planning process, in the monitoring process, in the review process. Therefore, in the process, it is clearly 3 phases are identified: planning, monitoring, and review. Okay. Planning actually starts with the review. There's something in the chat box. Acha, okay. I'm sorry, I'm not reading the chat box because I have to go back to the Zoom screen share के time पे. तो अगर आप yes no बोल रहे हो तो आप 2 सेकंड के लिए unmute कर देना. All right. So planning stage में phase 1 में in the stage of planning, what is happening? Subordinate and manager, they collectively making a review of the current working system. They are aligning the individual performance with the organization goals. They kind of develop towards a work plan जहाँ पे एक expected task, employees का expected results and performance evaluation का standards. आप ये outline करके रखते हो. Then you identify the key performance areas of your employee, okay, and then you give the necessary training. Okay, all this is coming in the planning. कि क्या क्या करना पड़ेगा. If I'm identifying this as the key performance area, this training is necessary. Okay, so here you are going to prepare a copy of work assessment plan, which is handed over to the employee, and one copy you can keep it in his personal folder for future references. And the objectives or the indicators, of course, need to be very smart, specific, giving all the answers to what, how, when, whom, measurable, so that you understand कि कौन सा employee कितना output दे रहे हैं in project in terms of quantity, quality, cost, and time frame. Keep it attainable so that your employees can achieve it easily. Keep it very practical, okay, with the available resources. Realistic, very important. Do not expect something rocket science from your employees, okay. They are there to complete the achieve the organization's objectives. So keep it realistic. And lastly, time bound. So moving on to phase 2, which is monitoring. All right, let us go ahead with monitoring.
Phase 2, monitoring. For a performance management system to be effective, employee progress and performance must be continuously monitored. Monitoring day-to-day performance does not imply keeping a watch on everything that an employee does. Rather, just keep on focusing on results achieved, as well as individual behaviors and group performances affecting the work culture. During this phase, the employee and manager should meet regularly to
Okay, we will go
one,
one by one. Let us first understand the meaning of monitoring. Here, in case of performance management, students, monitoring does not mean supervising. Okay, monitoring means checking the performance of the employee, if it is going in line or if it is going in proper direction or not. Okay, the managers should always try to be involved instead of just keeping a watch. Okay, over here, in case of monitoring, what are you going to monitor as a manager? कि employee perform कैसे कर रहे हैं, are their efforts in the correct direction or not. Okay, and then third and the most important thing, analyze के employee का behavior कैसे affect कर रहा है उसके काम पर. Okay, group performance कैसे affect कर रहा है. All these things, because monitoring does not only mean how the employee is achieving the targets. Monitoring also means, okay, what are the hurdles, okay, while he is trying to achieve the targets. हो सकता है इंडिविजुअली जब एम्प्लॉय परफॉर्म कर रहा है तो एक्सीलेंट कर रहा है, लेकिन ग्रुप में जब परफॉर्म कर रहा है और प्रोजेक्ट में कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, क्योंकि सबका कलेक्टिव ओपिनियन इंक्लूड हो जाता है. So you have to, while monitoring, you have to make sure that you are analyzing all these things. Okay, कि उसका employee का behavior, group performances, how it is impacting on the work or how it is impacting on the objectives. Okay, let us see. Here it says that during the monitoring stage, the subordinate and the manager should meet very frequently, so that, okay, point number one,
assess progress towards meeting performance objectives.
okay, I think together they can do the assessment if they are actually meeting the performance objectives or not. Then second one,
Identify any barriers that may prevent the employee from accomplishing performance objectives and what needs to be done to overcome them.
I think I already said you in the beginning that monitoring at this stage, you're not just supervising, you're also trying to identify what are the hurdles and what are the barriers. Okay. And the manager and subordinate can regularly meet and can talk about those problems that are coming again and again, especially the bottleneck issues. Okay. अगर वो repeatedly आ रहा है ऐसा कोई problem, तो उसके लिए क्या solution हो सकता है? What can be the permanent solution, right? So first one is assessing together whether they are achieving the objective. Second one is there any barriers? And if it is there, how to remove them? Uske baad third one,
Share feedback on progress relative to the goals.
okay, you have to give the feedback to your employee. You're just not going to supervise all the time. Okay, monitoring, supervision is a part of monitoring. It is not merely monitoring. Okay, so supervise karte karte, you also need to give the feedback. Okay, especially if it is a positive feedback, immediately know. If it is a negative feedback, please make sure you are confirming. Before you put it in front of your employee, you reconfirm it. Okay, many a times it happens. Negative feedback आप immediately अगर employee को दे देंगे, वो discourage होंगे. And then there is a way you put across. Okay, negative feedback ऐसे बताते समय आपको ध्यान देना है कि how are you putting those words. Okay, all right. Point number 4.
Identify any changes that may be required to the work plan as a result of a shift in organization priorities or if the employee is required to take on new responsibilities.
Yeah, I think when you are monitoring, you will understand that there are few things which may require changes in your grand plan. Okay, and you can do that. Okay, you can make the changes. Planning आपके last year सीखा है POM में, planning should never be rigid. Okay, it should have the scope to it should be flexible scope of wherein if any changes are required, it can be done. अभी आज की डेट में ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की एक्सपेक्टेशंस अलग है. हो सकता है एक साल बाद ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की एक्सपेक्टेशंस और प्रायोरिटीज अलग होंगी, तो आपका प्लानिंग ऐसा होना चाहिए ना that कैन बी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड. ओके, एंड देन लास्ट वन,
Determine if any extra support is required from the manager or others to assist the employee in achieving his or her objectives.
Yeah, I think extremely important that once you are monitoring, you are also trying to figure out what kind of assistance is required to your employees, okay, or what kind of extra support is required to your employees. So we started with phase two, which is monitoring. In monitoring, what is happening, students? The supervisor or and the subordinate, okay, they are collectively meeting on regularly basis and they are assessing the work, they are identifying the barriers if there are any, the manager is giving the necessary feedback, okay, and if there are any changes required it can be incorporated, and lastly what kind of extra support the employees need should also be identified. Okay, I think I can complete this till your phase 3 जाने से पहले ये coaching and feedback इतना complete कर लेते. I hope I get time to complete this. All right, continuous coaching.
Continuous coaching. Performance management includes coaching employees to discuss their performance concerns so that they can make better contributions to the organization. Coaching means providing guidance and support to employees for a successful and timely completion of their assigned work responsibilities. As a coach, managers managers need to recognize strengths and weaknesses of employees and work with employees to identify opportunities and methods to maximize strengths and improve weak areas. Good listening skills on the part of the coach, together with the ability to deliver honest feedback, are critical to the process of performance management.
Okay, so coaching is a part of monitoring our students because while I'm monitoring the performance, I'm simultaneously I'm going to start guiding my employees, right? So coaching, it is done along with monitoring the performance. Once you're guiding the employees, you have to make sure that you provide your employees with all the technical support, also emotional support if required. क्योंकि एक अच्छे कोच के अंदर ये क्वालिटी होना चाहिए. We should not always focus on आप ये काम ऐसे करो, आप ये काम ऐसे कर सकते हो. You try to figure out what why your employee is not able to put in the best. Okay, हो सकता है employee को कोई personal issues होंगे, है ना? So a good coach is also a good listener. Okay, he should try to consolidate the employees' strength and weaknesses. Okay, I think this is one of the most critical aspect of performance management process because coaching आपने performance management के definition पे study किया है, directing and guiding your employees, right? तो यहाँ से वो start हो जाता है. Planning एक अलग stage था, okay? Monitoring के stage में the employee and the subordinate, the subordinate and the manager are now, okay, going to actually convert their grand plans into realities. Okay, so यहाँ पे manager has to start becoming a good coach. Okay? He has to guide the employees wherever required and provide them with necessary feedback. So feedback is also a part of monitoring. तो जब आप monitor करते हो, उसी time आप coach करोगे, उसी time आप feedback दोगे. Let me just complete this feedback part. Okay, Smriti.
Providing feedback. Positive feedback involves telling employees about their better or, in some cases, outstanding performance. This type of feedback needs to be given on timely basis, as there is nothing which can motivate an employee more than appreciation of his or her work at the right time. Constructive feedback makes an employee aware of his areas of improvement. It should be action-based and not person-based. The main purpose of constructive feedback is to help people understand where they stand in relation to expected level of performance. Just like the positive feedback, the constructive feedback also needs to be given on time to the employees so that they can work upon their shortcomings and improve within a time frame to keep their performance objectives on track for the year of assessment.
I think necessary feedback should be given to the employee on time. If it is a positive feedback, okay, do it immediately. Inform your employee about his outstanding performance and contribution. But if there is something called as negative feedback, I'm very happy the textbook is not using the word negative feedback. Okay, the notes is using the word constructive feedback. Okay, what is constructive feedback? If there is something shortcomings in the employee's performance, okay, it can be you have to communicate in such a manner that it sounds constructive. Okay, that the employee can work on that shortcomings. All right. So over here, the second phase is done. I think we'll start with phase 3 in the next session. It seems too lengthy, और ये session में हो नहीं पाएगा. A quick recap of what we have done. We started with performance management process. The process is divided into 3 phases, starting with phase 1, which is planning. Over here, a comprehensive plan is made. Why Rehmat is entering? Rehmat is a marketing student. Huh? Okay, at the planning stage, okay, the subordinate and the manager, they are going to collectively work. Okay, they will prepare a comprehensive and grand plan. They are going to first start with reviewing the current system of working. Okay, they will align the individual tasks to the company's objective. They are going to outline the major tasks to be achieved, what is expected from the employees, and what is the method of evaluation. Finally, the manager is also going to identify the major key performance areas, okay, and if there is any training and development required. Okay, those objectives should be SMART. All right, and then we started with monitoring. What is monitoring? Over here, the manager act as a guide and coach. He is supervising the performance and simultaneously doing coaching as well as giving necessary feedback. So monitoring stage is done. We will take the last stage, that is or phase 3, okay, which is performance review. I will take this point in the next lecture. I hope there is no doubt. अगर कोई doubt है तो please get back to me. All right, guys, then I end the session over here. It was nice meeting you. You all have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. Bye bye.